This video is going to cover exercise number 4 in the Intro to CAD section. All right, you see the shape in front of us that we're going to create, or the design that we're going to create for this project. There's a lot of different ways we could approach this, but I think the easiest way to approach it is we're going to start our design from the front side. So let's see our view cube up here. This is the front. There we are from the front side. That's where we're going to start it. We're going to create this pattern. We're going to extrude it across the width of the design, and then we'll cut out this little block here. Let's look at the dimension sheet and see what we've got here. Okay, so right here's where we're going to start. Where are we going to put the origin? That's the first question. I'm going to identify this point right here as the origin. I'm going to draw a line, 150 millimeters. Okay. I'm going to draw a couple of lines, but I'm going to change the format of them. I'm going to make them construction lines. Construction lines are tools that we use in designing that are informational in purpose. They're not actually part of our design. They don't represent a border or anything of that nature. They are just there for information. And I'm going to draw one up from the origin. It's going to be tied to the origin, so it'll be constrained to the origin. And the other one I'm going to put out here because I've got another line up here I'm going to draw that's 60 millimeters long. I know that it's 70 millimeters above this line, and I know that it's 30 millimeters in. So this line's 150 millimeters, this one's 60, and it starts 30 millimeters into this line. So I'm going to position this construction line that runs up 70 millimeters, 30 millimeters from the origin, and that will give me my starting point to draw my 60 millimeter line. When I have this line drawn and this line drawn in position correctly, all I have to do is connect the dots from here to here, here to here, and my design is created, other than the fact that I have to create the interior portion, which is 10 millimeters in. We have an offset tool that will create that for me. I don't have to draw it again. I will open the offset tool and offset it by negative 10 millimeters to give me the 10 millimeter thickness, and my sketch will be complete. Let's get started. So there's my design. Let's open a new canvas. Let's create sketch. There's my front back plane. If I don't know which one my front back plane is, which I can always click on the front text here on the view cube, it's going to rotate around. And guess what? The only plane I see is the XY or XZ plane. Sorry, not XY, XZ. Z is blue. Select the plane. Now let's draw my first line. Create line from the origin. Click 150 millimeters. Type it in. 0 degrees. Click. There's my line. I'm going to escape out and move that over so we can see it a little. I guess it doesn't make any difference. That's what I do in class on the screen. Now I'm going to draw a couple more lines. I'm going to draw one from here to here. Oh, I wanted it to be construction. That's not part of my design. To toggle, well, let me draw the other line so you can see what a construction line is. Over in the sketch palette, line type is the first option. I'm going to click on construction. I'm going to draw my second line. There we go. I want to go up 70 millimeters with this line. 90 degrees. Notice at the bottom of it, I get the little square, which indicates right angle. And there's that. Now, I didn't click on construction while I had that line. What I did is I had this line selected, clicked on construction, so it converted it for me. Not the way I was planning to do it, but I still get to demonstrate what I wanted to show you. This line's construction. I want both lines to be construction. Now I could click on construction here, or I can just hit the X key. X will toggle the line type from construction to a normal line, or vice versa. All right, so I've got these two lines here. Now, this is going to be the starting point of my 60 millimeter line at the top. That starting point needs to be 30 millimeters in. So let's use the sketch dimension tool, and we're going to create a dimension between these two lines of 30 millimeters. Create sketch dimension. Here's the shortcut. Select the first line, select the second line. There we are. I'm going to click. Let's make it 30 and enter. Now, this is a dimension line. I'm going to move it down here. Notice how it looks solid. This does not look like a construction line because it's got the lines for the dimension aspect of it here. These lines with arrows are also not part of your design. Those are dimension lines, okay? So do not get confused about that. So now, well, let's ask this question. Why did this line move to the right instead of this line moving to the left? Why? It's because this line was tied to the origin. That's where it started. And it will not move from that. It's constrained. So we're going to get into constraints more in class or later in class. I'm going to move this over out of the way. Now, I'm going to open the line tool again. I have a starting point here that's 70 millimeters above this line and 30 millimeters in. That's exactly where my top line needs to start. 60 millimeters, 0 degrees, click. Now my line tool is still open. Let's go ahead and finish it out because all I have to do from here is connect the dots. I'm not adding a dimension. It's just connecting the dots. Click. Notice how I got no dimension line with it because I did not add a dimension. Now, do not try and start the second line over here. That is a dimension line, not part of the design. I want to go to the end of my 60 millimeter line. Notice how I've got the constraint here. Click, and I want to bring it down to the origin to complete my design. Okay, now I know it's enclosed because it turned blue. All right, this is highlighted, or it's my selection, that shade. I click out here, it's still a shade of blue showing it's enclosed. Now I need the interior line. That's create the 10 millimeter thickness. To do that, I'm going to use the offset tool. Let's go modify, offset. There's the offset tool, modify, offset. Chain selection is on. That means it should select all joined lines. There it is. And let's go -10. If chain selection was off, it would just select a single line at a time. Click OK. Now there's my shape that I want to extrude. Let's finish sketch. Home position. Let's extrude. Create, extrude, keyboard shortcut of E. There's a shortcut in the toolbar. We're going this direction and I want to go 100 millimeters. 20 on one side, 60 open in the middle, 20 open on the other side. Click OK. right, so look at there. I've got my shape. We're not far from being done. The last aspect of our project. We got to cut it out. We're going to create a sketch on this top surface. We're going to create a rectangle, 40, 60, so it's going to be 100 millimeters this direction, 60 millimeters wide. We're going to position it so it's 40 millimeters from this edge. The top and this edge are 40 millimeters, which should bring us right to the edge here. And we're going to position this edge 20 millimeters from that edge. Let's go do that. We're going to create sketch. Now, once again, I want to access the geometry of this shape. So we're going to create our sketch on this face. There we are. Let's create our rectangle, 2-point rectangle. And I'm going to do a better job this time so that it moves around. So we're going to go 100 millimeters this direction, and it's going to be 60 millimeters that direction. So there we are. Now, I want to create a couple sketch dimensions. The first one, let's center it. The distance between this edge and this edge is going to be 20 millimeters. All right. And the distance between this edge and this edge will be 40 millimeters. All right, that looks pretty good. Looks how it's flush here. We're good. It's in the middle. Finish sketch. Home position. We're going to have two sections on it. I'd like for it to be one enclosed, but that's not what we're going to get because of that edge. Let's extrude, extrude, keyboard shortcut of E. Here's the shortcut, select. It selected my first item because I'd already clicked on it. I'm going to select the other section of it. So I've got two items selected. I'm going to grab the arrow because all we want to do is make sure we cut all the way through it. Notice how I'm going through the material. The operation changes to cut. We're removing material. I'm all the way through. That looks good. Click OK. Guess what? Our design is done. That is the end of exercise 4. Take your screenshots as outlined on the assignment. Should be just from the home position, but I'm not looking at it, and that's why I put it on rock spaces so that you can look at it and figure out what screenshots you need to take and submit. And I'll see you for exercise 5. If I can get my mouse pointer over there.